days and sleepless nights. This is how it has to be. Just one more step, you're almost brave.
Welcome aboard, everyone. I'm your Gensenyo host, Brian, and
Today I'm here to tell you why you're wrong.
wait, hold up. That's not what we meant.
Dude, have you ever been watching this channel?
T.I., stop. Listen for a sec. I'm here to admit that this is half on me because you and I are a functional pair.
Half? As if I have anything to do with you and your job?
Okay? Have it your way, tough guy. ASE.
What's up?
Will you please shut this guy up for the remainder of the video?
With pleasure. Hannah, are you just gonna sit there?
Thanks, brother. Today we're going to tell the truth about T.I. Now let's go.
Too much is what brought you here. Thinking too much is what brought you here. Thinking too much is what brought you here. Thinking too much.
Welcome aboard, everyone. I'm your Gensenyo host, Brian, and I'm glad you found this second episode of ISTP Weekly. Now, to be perfectly frank, I don't have all my ducks in a row tonight. I planned on a much more, I guess you could say, extravagant type situation, and it just didn't quite work out that way this time. But I think we're going to make the best of it. And on that note, it'll be different than last week, where we had a guest. It's just me this time, me and you. Speaking of you, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe, it would really help boost the channel on YouTube, and we can get this information out to more ISTPs and people who are interested in ISTPs. I really appreciate it. So today, we're going to talk about the truth about T.I. And when I say the truth, I'm not necessarily taking the role of the cognitive function expert. In fact, other than special episodes that have a guest, these are going to be more geared towards basically self and life growth for ISTPs and maybe TI DOMs and Beta Quadras and anybody who feels like maybe they can relate to some of the life struggles that go with having low feeling and high thinking. So, for now, I'm just going to present live. Like I was saying earlier, this was the intro is to be far more extravagant. Believe it or not, that entire intro got filmed today. I put that little piece together today. We're gonna probably eventually talk about procrastination down the road sometime, and how it bites us in the ass, and maybe how sometimes we like that, right? Sometimes I like to run it right up to the very edge. I think this happens a lot with studying, especially. We run it right up to the very edge, and that extra pressure, it's almost invigorating, right? You have that pressure of a deadline, and you've thought it through and you've decided, hey, I probably have the time to make this happen. And, you know, a lot of the times it works out. I hope it does, at least. But this time it didn't. I fell behind by many, many hours. So, with all that in mind, what you're going to be hearing from me tonight, or at least for the first portion of this, for this video, will be kind of scripted. It was meant to be a video. Well, I guess at the end of the day, it is going to be a video, isn't it? So, without any further ado, I'll start in a similar place where we left off in the intro. Although TI is a dick, I'll be the first to say it's the most misinterpreted of the functions. This isn't to take anything away from NI. It still reigns as the most mysterious. So today we're going to talk about the most misinterpreted function, in my humble opinion, and that would be TI. I'm going to make an effort to TI prove it, but as we'll find out as the night goes on, TI isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's not exactly how it's portrayed in the typology community. I'm not saying everybody's wrong, but there's, you know, if you look back to my video, my short on stereotypes, probably there's some major stereotypes in the MBTI community, typology community, whatever you want to call it. And you can count the big ones on one hand. And one of those is all TI DOMs are smart. And if you're not, you know, on the Mensa, then you must not be a TI DOM. And the logic of TI DOMs is always flawless and perfect. And that's just, it's complete horseshit. It's complete horseshit. And it's not doing us any favors. If you're a TI DOM and you're watching this right now, I'm sure you know what I mean. There's been times in your life where people were kind of disappointed. They were kind of disappointed because you didn't just have the answer right then and there, when you often do. And let's just say, let's try an exercise. Think of a word or a phrase that describes TI as a function. Now, if you're watching live, I'll ramble for a second so you can give it some thought. If you're not watching this live, pause and take a moment if needed. So that was going to be another call to action in the video. I did my call to action already. Hey, if you missed the original call to action, like and subscribe, please. That's another thing about ISTP is I'm just going to probably jump in and step on myself a bunch here. We don't like asking for help much. And that, believe it or not, that flows over to the YouTube side. If you've been watching my channel since the beginning or for a while, at least back in 2020, my calls to action were sometimes none. I would rarely, if ever, ask people to like and subscribe because it just, you know, there's no good reason why. You know, when you sit back and really think about it, what is so hard about asking for help? It's not. But there's something within the ISTP specifically. And again, you're not going to hear me talk really at all about other types. I don't like to type other people, other than at Host Eric's channel when he does the typing premieres and everybody kind of joins in the fun, and you know, we don't take it too serious. At least I don't take it too serious. Some people get a little serious, but at the end of the day, I prefer not to take that approach. So the kinds of answers that, circling back to words you'd think of when you think of TI. The kinds of answers I would anticipate hearing would be logical, analytical, objective, know-it-all. Yeah, you heard me. And you've heard that too. In one form or another, all of these descriptors tie back to correctness, right? That's the overarching theme of TI. And it is kind of true, obviously, but host Eric recently described it in a way that made a lot of sense to me. And it's basically black and white thinking, right? Well, there's different ways to talk about. For now, we're just going to talk about the stereotype, but it's basically black and white thinking, on or off, yes or no, correct or incorrect. And that's really, if you really sit and give it some time, TI is basically the most basic. Basically basic. It's extremely basic. It's not anything exceptional. And once you come to that determination as a TI Dom, when that's coupled with the functional pairing of FE, FE is always going to be below TI. When TI is TI, then FE, or if you have FE first, then you're going to have TI second. They're functional pairs, and they're always going to be together. So essentially, for a TI Dom, our TI is at the top, so our FE is at the bottom. And we have a tendency or a natural inclination to give all the credit to the TI. And with ISTPs, I find we're a real double-edged sword. Now, if you've seen my Informed Intuition video, then you'll know what I'm talking about. When I talk about Informed Intuition, it's my biased opinion that ISTPs are, why can't I say the best at sniffing out bullshit? And it's completely due to our stack. TI SE is extremely it's a conundrum. TI SE is a conundrum. We prefer to look within ourselves with our TI. Therefore, we're introverted. Look with I'm trying to when I say introverted, it's the typology version of introverted. So we look inward with our TI, but our SE wants to go out, right? It's almost like a tug of war. And sorry, where was I going with this? It's funny. I have a record scratch insignia where I'm supposed to put a record scratch right in my video, and I feel like my brain is a record scratch right now. It was brought up in a live stream earlier today about how extroverted intuitors can just go. This is really my first attempt at nothing in front of me for a live stream. So it's gonna be a little iffy this time, folks. I'm gonna have to go find my place again. So we talked about logical, objective, know-it-all. So here's the truth. Here's the truth about TI and TPs, should take a deep breath because this might sting a bit. TI is no more correct than any other function. INTJs may now smash the like button. But don't take my word for it. We can ask the man himself. We'll look at what Jung had to say in Psychological Types. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring up this window here. And I didn't plan on doing it this way, but like I said, I'm kind of improvising right now. So if it's not exactly on screen what I'm going to go through here, my apologies. Jung said in chapter 10, Psychological Types, introverted thinking is primarily oriented by the subjective factor. At the least, this subjective factor is represented by a subjective feeling of direction, which, in the last resort, determines judgment. Occasionally, it is more or less finished image, which to some extent serves as a standard. So what Jung is saying probably surprises most of you, and that's that TI DOMs are exposed as subjective thinkers. We really don't have any introverted feeling. And the idea, whenever I think about introverted feeling, it brings me to the notion, the old debate about, do we have a 4-function stack or do we have an 8-function stack? Because anytime I think about introverted feeling, it just feels like, it feels more like TI bouncing off of FE. So the frustrating part about TI is it always wants to be right. It always wants to be right, and even when you're not mature yet and you haven't had enough pies thrown in your face, TI is really tricky because, especially for an ISTP, I'm not sure if it's so much for an INTP. If there's any INTPs watching, please let me know in the comments. TI is very tricky for an ISTP because our extroverted intuition is our polar function, our deceiver, our trickster, and therefore coming up with new ideas can be pretty difficult. And TI DOMs have subjective values and principles, and it's not uncommon to find that half of them are dog shit. The fact that TI prefers using logic doesn't mean it's always impeccable. It may feel that way to the user, but it's fleeting. Because in the next moment, we might discover a piece of information that can figuratively flip over the entire apple cart. TI users are as capable of changing their mind as they are being stubborn. The key ingredient is TI's functional pairing with FE. You can have all the data in the world at your fingertips, but without FE as a literal countervalue, you'll always be an insensitive asshole. Not forgetting to mention, the data you derive your values from is rarely 100% perfectly objective. The world is a subjective place. A TI DOM is born believing the world is objective. And it's taken me all of my 43 years to come all the way to the other side and give in. Let go of the TI and just accept We have to accept that the world is a subjective place. And we find that subjectivity through our interactions with others with FE. So the less you FE, the less you're going to learn about how you truly fit in the world. Bias finds its way into almost everything. Religions, politics, and even science. There are a million reasons why seemingly objective data can be false, misrepresented, or just plain counter to proper FE values. It's the latter instance that gives TI users the most trouble. Just the phrase alone is ripe with scrutiny. Proper FE values. TI goes nuts when it hears words like proper, or values, or morality, or anything that's subjective for that matter. But at the same time, it makes decisions. It makes black and white decisions even without all the information. So thankfully we have some NI in our third slot to validate some of the information that's coming in and going out. We use that NI to validate the TI. TI is just doing black and white, and it's really easy to violate FE principles. I'm sure we're going to come up with some examples tonight. Let me know in the comments if you're a TI Dom. Give me an example of the last time you violated an FE principle with your TI. So, now that we've beaten this horse into a frenzy, let's take a moment to appreciate TI for its contributions. Without TI, we would struggle digesting and understanding abstract concepts. The simplest one I can articulate would be the sun rising and setting every day. You don't need to be a TI user to find the truth in this. For some people, knowing the truth that the sun will rise and set is expected every day is enough. A TI user takes this to the next step. Why does the sun rise and set every day? What is the truth behind the truth? Even that won't be enough for the TI user. Once that truth is discovered, there will be a new truth to find. How did this set of circumstances, a la our solar system, come to be? Etc., so on and so forth. These TI concepts get extrapolated all the way down the rabbit hole until the objective truth is finally out of reach. Some rabbit holes never end. And as Jung stated earlier, we forgot to talk about, sorry, I skipped that part. Jung talks about concrete and abstract data that's processed by TI, concrete being SE in the ISTP and abstract being NE in the INTP. So though these concrete and abstract data are then oriented through subjective interpretation. This is why it's possible for TI users to have conflicting societal/FE values. Given enough scrutiny, there are very few concepts in our reality that are truly objective. So that's the lesson for today on paper. We're not done here yet. If you're a TI user, it's very important to learn humility and be willing to submit to your FE sometimes. You need to be careful choosing what hills to die on, because once you plant your flag, pulling it back out is ego crushing. although this can sometimes be good, a la hero's journey type stuff, be wary. TI users are susceptible to bad ideas, whether we want to admit it or not. So that's my scripted portion. That's my scripted portion of the evening. I'm actually quite thrilled. I'm actually quite thrilled, to be honest with you. 25 minutes. Let's catch up with chat. And we'll talk more and more and more about TI as we go. Okay, I do need to get my little box up here. We have this special little box that everybody likes. I'm going to get that going. And then we're going to have a good old time. Okay. Dan is in the house. Awesome to have you aboard, Dan. Everybody, Dan, if I'm not sure how far along we are in the conversation right now. Dan is from Australia. He's an ISTP. And Dan is going to, at least he's tentatively committed to coming on the show at some point. So I don't know when that's going to be quite yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and everybody can look forward to that beautiful Aussie accent. Dan, it's great to have you aboard. Winston's mom. Winston's mom has been giving us all of the typical Winston mom info. Psychological Types by C.G. Jung. Part 13, the introverted thinking type. Winston's mom posted a YouTube video for everybody to watch. And I want to also take this moment to thank Winston's mom for being the moderator of the channel. Most of you are familiar with Winston's mom. She's super duper fair. And to be honest, I don't know if we're ever going to have that kind of issue around here. I don't intend, although those of you who follow the channel, I do like to mix it up a little bit with some rather, testy topics. But that doesn't mean that it has to be poor discourse, right? And so my intention would be to draw in an audience who prefers a good faith discourse. And therefore, Winston's mom will probably be the most bored moderator on YouTube from 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday night. Winston's mom, thank you so much for your efforts and for all you do in the typology community. Psychological type stuff. Oh, here we go. Jung described introverted thinking as subjective. Oh, we just talked about that, Winston's mom. What a coinkydink. This thinking is neither determined by objective data nor directed to them. It is a thinking that starts from the subject and is directed to subjective ideas, subjective facts. Introverted thinking is Socratic in nature. Thompson describes TI and Jung's function attitudes explained as a philosophical quest for the rational truth through the use of penetrating, systematic questioning and doubt. Now that's very true. That's very true. In fact, I included a Benjamin quote in the Informed Intuition video, and it just hits a home run. And I might I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember all the exact words, but it basically goes like this. Anytime I hear something new, my first thought is, how is that wrong? I know anybody who's not a TI Dom, when they hear something like that, it sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. But it's the truth, and it's our curse. It really is our curse in a lot of ways. We offend people all the time with what we think are benign observations of a situation. Yeah, it can be rough. It can be rough. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. Socrates. The easiest and noble way is not to be crushing others, but to be improving yourselves. Socrates. And that's what I'd hope to get out of this channel. You know, my whole internet experience, going back probably 25 years, longer than, okay, so if I really sat and thought about it, the first time I got on the internet was, it would be 1990, somewhere between 1992 and 1994, when they only had BBS boards. You had to call specific phone numbers for each basically each page had a phone number. There wasn't an accessible internet yet. So so I've basically been interneting since the internet. And so mad I lost it. I'm so mad I lost it. It'll come back. We'll just keep moving on. I lost it. It's gonna come back. Maybe Winston's mom. Easiest noble way is not crushing others, but improving yourselves. Right. Okay. And yeah. So all the time that I spent on the internet was trying to figure people out and figure out myself at the same time. I couldn't have any conversations with folks around around my community. It was a really conservative community, and basically all the questions that I had were ticking people off. So I went to the internet to try and find like-minded people to have conversations with, and that's basically where there's a fork in the road for not only TI DOMs but most people when it comes to the internet. You either fall into an echo chamber or you don't. And if you fall in, you better hope you climb out. The Wild West of the internet is full of TI DOMs who fell into the echo chamber and weren't able to crawl back out because they have abandoned their FE, and basically any information they're getting in the echo chamber is just gonna keep fluffing that subjective TI. They've made all the calculations because they don't have all the information. They think they have all the information, or the information that they don't have is useless. That's where TI DOMs go wrong. There's always going to be more information, and sometimes you're even going to have to defer to your FE, even when the TI says the FE is wrong. That's going to happen a lot, and it has to happen. That's kind of like what having humility is. That's how you stop getting called the know-it-all. And humility, it might be, if I could imagine any word that I've said as it relates to self-growth, more on this channel, that one. Hey, Bubba Fett. Glad to have you aboard, buddy. Glad to have you aboard. Winston's mom is just chucking all the great info at us tonight, folks. Winston's mom is going to have more for me to read than I even brought on my own. I love it. Personality types where TI is the dominant function are INTP and ISTP. Personality types where TI is the auxiliary function are ENTP and ESTP. Okay, so now we're getting into the chat after the start. What do you guys think of the little goofy video with the heads and stuff? I've tried that before. I did that video game video. I believe it was like the second video I ever did. And I basically forced myself to do it. It was before I knew about cognitive functions. Now, if you guys ever questioned whether or not I was thinking about self-growth and mindfulness and all those things before Winston's mom turned me on to NBTI, look no further than the second video I ever posted. In fact, you know what? If we have a few extra minutes at the end, I think it's only like 2 minutes long. We should probably watch it. So yeah, Boba, we are doing a live stream here. Now, I'll elaborate a little bit on what I intended. And it's going to take a little bit of digging in, but what you guys should probably look forward to in the future is what I'd like to do is start every ISTP Weekly with a premiere video. As this talking head video was supposed to be basically a premiere. And I'm pretty sure there's an option where you can do like a preview. You can do a preview video if you're doing a premiere. And not only that, but when the premiere is over, YouTube has options that will push people to the live stream. So in the most perfect world, there will be a thumbnail announcing ISTP Weekly. There will be a preview video previewing what's happening on ISTP Weekly that week. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, when ISTP Weekly starts, it'll launch with an actual premiere video. And then at the end of that premiere video, YouTube will push you directly to the live stream. So that is the goal. That would be pretty sweet if I can pull that off. I know it can happen, and I'm not sure if this is an ISTP thing. I'm sure it probably is. If we know something is possible, it can be done. I believe I said that about Premiere Pro. Basically, when I was making the Schism video, I had a concept of these puzzle pieces and all this going on, and I thought, well, can Premiere Pro even do that? Once I figured out it did, it might have taken me 3 months, but it's possible. It can be done. Lots and lots of comments. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm never going to be able to get through all these comments. Boba Fett says, there's this funny ISTP meme with a car taken apart in a million pieces. Oh, so that's how it works. Stereotype. Well, you know, some stereotypes are stereotypes because they're true. I don't think, and like I've said in my stereotype video, I don't enjoy working on cars or erecting structures or, you know, that kind of shit. But it does come pretty easy. So that's obviously why we have that stereotype, is people are inclined to do work for their life that they find the most satisfying and the easiest, I suppose. And those types of things just come easy. I left a comment. You are live over on host Eric's channel. Oh, fun. A huge problem. Okay, Winston's mom, the theory of reciprocity. In a candy store, they give you a free sample. People will then buy from the store. Psychologically, or hardwired to return the favor. Advertisers use this introverted thinking. How can I define this? Is one way I'm reading. We might have missed a message there. Oh, hey, Dan. I'm going to see if we have any questions. ISTP here. We have an ISTP in the house. Horse Mumbler. Horse Mumbler is in the house. I agree on TI. It just does TF judgment, breaking things down to basics and impart great understanding because it's basic. The complexity is holding multiple discrete layers of competing truth. That is the truth. Well said, Horse Mumbler. I really appreciate that input. That is very well said. Basically, TI is the consistency engine. TI DOMs apply TI to absolutely everything. Okay, so here we go, Boba. TI DOMs apply TI to absolutely everything in life, don't they? Just like every other DOM. Yeah, and you know, I haven't had enough conversations with people about dominant functions, but that's basically the whole theme of this thing is our dominant function the real daemon function? Is it that way with everybody? How does an extroverted intuitor overuse their dominant function? How does an introverted sensor overuse their dominant function? These are all questions that I would love to have the answers to, and we can probably get those answers through this series. That's going to happen, I think, because anecdotally, TI has basically caused most of my problems as far as getting along with people or offering up a poor impression. And with Effie and the 4 slot as aspirational, we don't really want that to happen. I know a lot of ISTPs are tough guys, and we like to be tough, and SE's tough, and all the good stuff, right? But we still do aspire. We do aspire to have a place in the tribe. And you're never going to get a place in the tribe if you keep telling them they're wrong about their feelings and they're wrong about their subjective ideas that might not line up crystal clear with the TI. TI is my curse. We have another horse mumbler. Good evening, Winston's mom. This is the most pleasant alternative to the argument I was just having with an opinionated idiot in some comments. Well, YouTube and the internet, it's good for that, isn't it, horse mumbler? Dan says, that's hard for me. My FE is quite strong. I have inner frustration between TI and FE. Yeah, that's basically how I became a progressive. Now, as you guys know, I talk a little bit about politics here and there, and some people like to razz me up about it, and um, but I don't think it's a coincidence that there aren't many, at least from what I can tell in my anecdotal experience, there aren't many TI users in the progressive portion of the political spectrum. And the reason I ended up there is abandoning the TI for FE on a lot of those cases, because there is no objective truth when it comes to uh, sociology, societal standards, culture. TI is so stupid sometimes, right? You can make arguments for murder. Morality, talking about morality to just TI alone is completely silly, right? A TI Dom can sit back and genuinely make an argument for why murder is good, or uh, population control is good, or it's really quite terrifying. Really quite terrifying what TI is capable of when it's not harnessed to FE at all. And I don't mean that's going to sound. I want to qualify what I just said. That probably scares some people, but we really do have values. I promise. We're not sociopaths or psychopaths or anything like that. We don't want to hurt people when we're doing those thought exercises, but the thought exercise itself can sometimes lead down dark roads to where it appears the objective truth is something really terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean as an FE value um, standard that you would expect from our society. Uh, Dan has trouble with abstract. Welcome to the club, Dan. Welcome to the club. Oh my goodness. You guys, I love you guys. There are so many comments. Dan says, I learned humility and my ego died in my 20s. Yeah, I agree, Dan. That's when it happened for me too. Uh, I don't recommend, uh, I don't endorse psychedelics uh, without being under the control of a state licensed physician. All the things, but yeah, that's what did it for me. Oh, Dan plays Stargate. Oh, Dan is a Stargate fan. That's Limit of Mythology. Okay. Do. Horse Mumbler. Yes, it's great having the other side of the TI first equation explored and exemplified in a friend. Thanks for the comment, Horse Mumbler. Uh, the inability aphantasia. Aphantasia is the inability to voluntarily create a mental picture in your head. People with aphantasia are unable to picture a scene, person, or object, even if it's very familiar. Wow, that's very interesting. It's very interesting, Boba Fett. I don't think I have a photographic memory, but there are a lot of things that I do remember, and I'm not sure if this is a TI thing or not. I'd be interested for the the typology experts to pipe up, but I do surprise people often with some of the things that I remember. And it is a picture. I don't know if that's photographic or not, but I would be curious to know if that is function related. Okay, from here on out, yeah, Bubba, you're right. I don't have to go through every single one. I'm going to start looking for question marks. I'm trying to find the Benjamin video link. What was the title? That was a discussion that he had with Joyce. It was, in fact, we have the world at our fingertips, and therefore we're going to show the world all the lovely things. So Joyce Benjamin, there it is. Introverted Thinking TI with ISTP Benjamin. Everybody, I highly, highly recommend this video. Benjamin isn't for everybody. He's definitely for ISTPs, but if you're not an ISTP, you might be a little technically dry type of a talker, but his insight on TI is absolutely wonderful, and I would highly recommend you folks watch this and support Joyce's channel too. Joyce, sorry Joyce, but you're probably the second nicest person in typology YouTube. We all know who the nicest is. That's Winston's mom. Hi, Genzenio. Winston's mom wisely suggested I ask if you have a familiar or interest in Battletech Mech Warrior. Favorite IP of mine, and you're the right age. It rings a bell, but I didn't play it. Was that the game where basically they're giant robots? Kind of like there was a movie. There was a movie back at that time too, where they were giant fighting robots. That's what's coming to mind. But no, sorry, Horse Mumbler, I don't have any familiarity other than it rings a bell. And I'm looking for question marks. You guys did such a great job in chat tonight. YouTube will know that we had a good time and hopefully share it with everybody. Dan says, my TI logic is best at working out how things work. I haven't had enough exposure to use TI in other areas yet. Yeah, Dan, there's enjoyment, actually, in that. Troubleshooting. I love troubleshooting something fun. It's almost like it's an NE exercise. Maybe that's why we enjoy troubleshooting, because it's a very basic use. It's like the most basic use of NE, and we are going to find some satisfaction in that, I think. Horse Muller says, if you'd like, I can come on and discuss the NE SI side of TI first, and how I think it tends to be overused sometimes. Absolutely, Horse Mumbler. I'd love to have you on for that. I would love to have you on for that. 100%. That's going to happen sometime. And also, I did promise you a video on that one guy at one point. I'm still processing that. He goes live once in a while. I've been watching his live streams a little bit here and there too. I want to make sure that I don't do it any injustice, but I want you to know I haven't forgot about that. Winston's mom says, oh, I lost my spot. Okay, here we go. Dan Mercer, the Genzennial. Do you often take arguments to their logical extreme, like people promote X ideas, so you naturally say this will lead to Z? No, I don't. I don't usually do that unless it's like I do have an appreciation for the notion of those who don't understand their history are doomed to repeat it. I do believe that is somewhat true. But I don't believe that like people promote X ideas, so you naturally say this will lead to Z. Yeah, that would be an NI-TI thing. And that's where I apply most of my views on the world are more, I use the NI in conjunction with FE rather than TI. The NI is basically what is I don't want to misstate this. It's almost like NI is the referee between TI and FE. I'd call NI my TI FE referee. Winston's mom asks, what about TI humor, jokes, laugh out loud, slip on the banana, and fall on sour grapes? Yeah, definitely dark humor. Dark humor for sure. But like Three Stooges type stuff, not really. It's almost no, not really. Not really slapsticky stuff unless it has some kind of FE violation. it's kind of weird. I would say the best comedy is not politically correct and full of FE violations. That's the best kind of humor. Fear inoculum, Travis. Fear inoculum. Awesome to have a Tool fan here, though, by the way. Great to have you aboard, Travis O. Fear inoculum has been quite a topic of discussion in the Tool community the last couple years. I'm not sure if you frequent the social communities on the internet related to Tool, but it's almost like it's one giant troll culture because, you know, Tool are trolls in themselves. Tool trolls their fans. The fans troll the fans, and regular trolls troll the fans. It's a pretty fun time if you don't take it too serious. And I is perceiving and TI is judging, so the referee metaphor is very good. Thanks, Winston's mom. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Well, everybody. Everybody. Yeah. We're going to have to wait on that one. I did it. We did it. 1 full hour with this any polar motherfucker. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Some future information. Some future information before we get out of here. As a reminder, please hit like and subscribe so that YouTube throws this out to the world. We're not only talking cognitive functions here, we're talking how to avoid your midlife crises. We're talking about how to get around the bend and complete the hero's journey. We have a little bit for everybody, I'd hope. So please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it if you did. Flow state. I told Winston's mom earlier today, and I think she may have danced a jig. Boba Fett knows too, and now all of you know. Flow state will be coming to ISTP Weekly sometime in July. So we can talk about SE, extroverted sensing. Flow state is an ESTP. So he will have all kinds of things to talk about when it comes to extroverted sensing. If you were hoping for politics, Boba Fett, I don't think it's going to happen on this first one. However, we did kind of tee up the ball. We teed it up, and if the SE thing goes well, then we'll probably duke it out a little bit at a different time in the political ring. So that's one nice piece of news. Flow state coming to ISTP Weekly in July. Horse Mumbler. In case you guys didn't hear, Horse Mumbler is going to be on ISTP Weekly sometime in the future. It's official. I haven't figured out what we're doing for next week yet, but I tell you, it's going to be better than this one, because now I know what it takes to put this whole thing together without Eric just taking me along for the ride. So we have a better idea of what we're getting into after this week. I really appreciate you guys loading up the chat and offering up really great insight. I mean, I love you guys. You're the best. Thanks for hanging with me this time. I'll see you on the flip side.